Hello, welcome back everyone. Before we start with part 3 of my collection video, I would like to show you guys some new stuff I picked up. Here's The Brutalist from A24. This is a very long film. I've heard good things about it, and I'm looking forward to digging into it. King of the Ants, I believe it's a George Romero film. This is from Treasured Films in the UK. Nice cover art there. That's a slip box, by the way. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a Region B Blu-ray. Actually, it's a Stuart Gordon film. Sorry, my bad. Not George Romero. Stuart Gordon. It's supposed to be a crime thriller of some kind. Here's Arrow's last stop in Yuma County. A new film that caught my attention recently. I don't usually buy a lot of new films, as you guys may already know. That's the back, so looking forward to checking that out. It's a crime thriller, I believe. And here is my copy of For a Few Dollars More, which joins A Fistful of Dollars right there. Nice slipcase, rigid hardbox edition of the film. I picked up the Friday the 13th films, 1 and 2 at least, on 4K. This is the US release, and this is the UK release. The UK standalone, because this was only released in that Paramount Presents set in the US. So yeah, the first 2 Friday films on 4K. From '88, I grabbed this full moon feature, Seed People. Nice metallic type of artwork on that slipcase. And this is a fairly recent pickup. It's actually a gray market Blu-ray for The Beach. This is a custom cover for it. And the Blu-ray is from Spain. So the film is titled La Playa, The Beach. The slipcover is a bit hard to take off, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a gray market release from Spain for The Beach, Leo DiCaprio's 2000 film from 20th Century Fox. Alrighty. So I last left off here at my Criterion Collection. So we begin with the Agnès Varda set. The magnificent Agnès Varda set. There. Has its own spot on the shelf facing forward. And here is 12 Angry Men, 1984. I've got the Blu-ray, the 4K version of that. The original 310 to Yuma. The 39 Steps. 400 Blows on DVD. 49th Parallel DVD. Au revoir les enfants DVD, and one more DVD is this is Armageddon. With Blu-ray inside. I blind bought Anora on 4K. Here's Amarcord, another old DVD set. Here's After Hours, The Ascent, Russian film. Asphalt Jungle, Golden Age classic. Here's Antichrist from Lars von Trier. Alambrista, Mexican film. All About Eve, Golden Age classic and digibook form. Italian classic La Ventura. Amores Perros, Bound, Betty Blue, Black Moon, Antonioni's Blow Up, Blow Out on 4K, looks great. Adventures of Baron Munchausen, 4K combo pack. Early 80s American classic, The Big Chill, Bitter Rice, The Black Orpheus, Orfeo Negro, it's a Portuguese film. The Brood, actually I may get rid of that since I picked up the Second Sight version on 4K, the box set on 4K from Second Sight, so I might sell that off. Breaking the Waves, Bicycle Thieves, The Bridge, Barry Lyndon, this is also forthcoming to 4K, so I may sell that off. Boyhood, interesting film, shot over the course of 12 years, I believe. Black Stallion, Breaker Morant, or Morant, I don't know, sorry. Blue is the warmest color. Why isn't that on 4K yet? Coen's brother film, which I didn't really understand. Blood Simple. The Before trilogy. Next to that is Doctor Strangelove. Then Broadcast News, Buck and the Preacher, Breakfast Club, Claudine, Class 2's Risks on DVD. There's Citizen Kane back there. Carnival of Souls and Cure, Korean film. Choose Me. La Dolce Vita, Devil's Backbone, Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee joint, huge digibook, digipack. Here's Don't Look Now, Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, Defending Your Life, Diabolique, deep cover, Dazed and Confused, Eve's Bayou. I'm really glad this was re-released on Blu-ray. This was there's a film in there, The Element of Crime, which I'm a very big fan of, which was stuck on DVD for many years, and I was really hoping for a Blu-ray, and then we got it. So that's Lars von Trier's Europe trilogy. Eyes Without a Face, The Four Feathers, the original. Fires on the Plain. This was recently announced for 4K, to be coming soon. 5 Easy Pieces, Failsafe, Foreign Correspondent, Friends of Eddie Coyle, Funny Games, Flight of the Phoenix, a personal favorite, huge favorite actually. Another favorite, The Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The Game, I love this one as well. I haven't seen this one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Girl Fight with Michelle, what is that? What's her name? God, I'm blanking on her name. Can't believe that. Gomorrah, Italian film. American classic, The Graduate. Japanese film, House, very weird film. The film that almost bankrupted MGM. Here's Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. High Sierra, adventure film. Japanese film, Harakiri. Here's The Honeymoon Killers, Hidden Fortress, said to be the inspiration for Star Wars. The Hit. I really enjoyed this one. The Incredible Shrinking Man. A lot of fun with that. It's a mad world. The Innocents, a horror film, kind of. Insomnia. Island of Lost Souls. Here's The In-Laws. Comedy with these two guys from Warner Brothers, late 70s. Very funny film. Classic. In the Heat of the Night. The Irishman with a de-aged Al Pacino and Joe Pesci. Here's Jubilee on DVD. Not many DVDs in my collection, as You guys know, here's a Jackie Chan collection. Police Story 1 and 2. Kuroneko, Japanese supernatural film. In the same vein is Kwaidan. Paranoia, 70s Paranoia, Klute. And another DVD, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. Empty case here. Here's La Bamba. Lady Snowblood. The Samurai. Lord of the Flies, the original. Letter Never Sent. There's Lone Star. Lost in America. Lady Vanishes. Lone Wolf. I almost said McQuaid. Lone Wolf and Cub. Mafioso DVD. McCabe and Mrs. Miller. This is Macbeth. Matawan. Midnight Cowboy. The Man Who Knew Too Much. Manchurian Candidate. There's Mean Streets. My Life as a Dog. Moonstruck. Menace to Society. It's Mildred Pierce. The New World. With Terrence Malick flick. Naked Prey. A Night to Remember. Night Porter. The Naked Island. An almost dialogue-free film. No Country for Old Men. Looks great on 4K. Excellent film. Night Train to Munich. There's Gene Hackman in Night Moves. El Norte. There's Orpheus. One-Eyed Jacks. There's On the Waterfront. Next to that is Odd Man Out. Then Only Angels Have Wings. There's Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. The Others. Parallax View. Princess Bride. Pick Up on South Street. That's Pan's Labyrinth back there. Petite Maman. Parasite. Paths of Glory. The Phoenix. And Paper Moon. Alright, for this part, I'm going to grab my chair. Bear with me for a little while. Alright, Passion of Joan of Arc, one of my very, very few silent films. Here are the renowned westerns, Bud Boddicker set. There's Red River with a book. Huge Blu-ray set. 3 films by Roberto Rossellini, starring Ingrid Bergman. Roma. Repulsion. Ride the Pink Horse. There's Risky Business. Robinson Crusoe on Mars. There's The Rock with a Blu-ray. This is an old DVD set, but there's a Blu-ray in there. The classic Rosemary's Baby, if I'm not mistaken. This also contains a Paramount 4K, and it does. Yep, made my own combo pack to save shelf space. That's the Paramount 4K and the Criterion Blu-ray behind it. Nice release, looks great. There's Raging Bull. Seconds. There's Shaft. The Excellent Sisters from Brian De Palma. Stalker. The original Scarface. There's Smooth Talk with girl from Jurassic Park. I'm blanking on her name. Silence de la Mer, French film. There's Straw Dogs, Something Wild. Spartacus. Now this has been bested by Universal. There's a Universal 4K of this, but I kept this one because I like the artwork, and I think it may have some unique extras. But this is a very nice early Criterion Collector's Edition. So 2-disc set and a fat pack, as they call them. Oh yeah, Spartacus. Japanese films, Sword of Doom. Here's Streetwise, Stagecoach, Slow, Solaris, Time Bandits with the lenticular slip. There's Tootsie, To Die For. Thief, I will grab the 4K that was announced by Arrow. They Live by Night. Tree with the Wooden Clogs. There's Tess, Tree of Life. Thelma and Louise, Traffic, followed by Until the End of the World, The Uninvited Virgin Suicides, and The Vanishing. Rounding out my Criterion collection is Uncut Gems, The Underground Railroad, Epic Series. There's Working Girls. Here's Walkabout. War of the Worlds original, World on Acquire, Throne of Blood. There's Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. White Material. This is The Shooting and Ride in the Whirlwind. A couple of films by Monty Hellman. The DVD of White Dog. Wages of Fear. I have the BFI version as well. The BFI 4K. Here's Wally. Winchester 73 and Y Tu Mamá También in a digibook. And my final Criterion, actually not my final, because I think I have I do have other big box sets to show later. Here's the Zatoichi Blind Swordsman set. Got its own little spot there on that shelf. It's a thick, beefy box. Alright, so that concludes my Criterion collection. Not a whole lot, but there are many, many awesome films, some of which I have yet to watch. Alright, so this is my D section, and we start the D section with the old Dirty Harry Ultimate Collector's Edition DVD set. And this is a DVD set. Warner did not replicate this for Blu-ray, as far as I know, but I kept this because of the packaging. But there are Blu-rays in here. I bought I double dipped for all the films, all 5 films. I do enjoy all 5 films, including Deadpool. And I double dipped and put the Blu-rays in there. Nice. I'm keeping that permanently. That's a permanent part of my collection. Next to that is the Dirty Harry Steelbook. It's very nice. I do like that color scheme, and the film looks fantastic on 4K. And I also have the UK Collector's Edition. Rigid box with the same steelbook. I'm going to keep that one sealed for now. Hopefully they do the rest of the films in this way, but it's Warner, so I doubt it. Best case scenario is they'll give us one of those ugly fat packs with the rest of the films on, in some fat pack, but maybe not. Maybe we'll get individual versions from the UK of the sequels. Here is the Dai Gothic set from Radiance, a collection of supernatural films. Now, I don't have a lot of Radiance titles because the stuff that they release isn't really up my alley, to be honest. This contains The Ghost of Yotsuya, The Snow Woman and The Bride from Hades. I did watch The Bride from Hades. It's a bit of a slow burn, but I found it interesting, and I did enjoy it. And this comes with a nice booklet. So yeah, Die A Gothic. I'm probably saying that wrong. I do apologize. Take care of that later. Here's Dracula, 1992, Bram Stoker by Coppola. Deadlock, German film and German release. Here's an interesting film from the early 2000s. Here's Death Watch. It's on DVD, released by Lionsgate. Hopefully they makes the Lionsgate limited line at some point. The Deep House from Turbine. I liked this one quite a bit. Diary of the Dead in a padded media book. I did enjoy that film. This one and the other one that Romero made after Land of the Dead. Here's something that really belongs in my 88 films section, but I have it back here. This is Dead of Winter in their slasher classics line. A very good film from 1987. Next to that is The Dead Next Door. A do-it-yourself zombie movie signed by the director. And it's the ultimate edition of the film. It looks good on Blu-ray. Dead Next Door. Here's Death Hunt. I think it's a Fox film, so good luck finding that. Now, it might be out of print and very hard to find, and don't expect a reissue of that. Sad to say. Here's Dangerously Close, an olive release. The Devil's Rejects. Duel, Steven Spielberg's Duel. Now this is another homemade combo pack that I made. The slipcase is from a company called World Cinema Classics. They are, if I'm not mistaken, an Asian company, an Asian boutique label. And these are very, very limited. When these come out, you have to kind of grab them the second they go up for sale. Otherwise, they do sell out pretty quickly. Again, it's World Cinema Classics. Nice slipcase has a velvety feel to it. Inside it, however, there is an American release. The American 4K of the film is in the package. Here's a nice booklet that came with the original release. And it's just a standard Amaray case. A Criterion style Viva Elite is what they call them. And yeah, it's got the American 4K in it, as you can see there. So yeah, Duel, a great film, a great TV movie. I don't know if it's Spielberg's first. I think his first may be Sugarland Express, but that's my deluxe homemade version of Duel. Here is Django Unchained on Steelbook. And this is an import of Dread, the lenticular O-ring slipcase, and it is a steelbook. It's a gorgeous steelbook. I don't even know if this is on 4K, but it should be. Here is Dawn of the Mummy from Treasured Films. It's a rigid hard case, and it's a Blu-ray, some art cards, and it's got kind of a big poster that came with it, came in the package, but it doesn't even actually fit in the box, so I've got that separate. Frank Agrama's Dawn of the Mummy. It's a German release of, well, actually a UK release, Dr. Zhivago on steelbook. This is a German release. This is Dances with Wolves. Here's an alternate edition of Wes Craven's Deadly Friend on MediaBook, small on MediaBook. There was a DVD in there, but I don't need the DVD, so I got rid of that. From South Korean boutique label Plain Archive, this is Drive with the pink slipcase. Famously hard to get when it first came out. Here's The Driver. I love this film. This is a UK edition. It's on 4K. Dark Night of the Scarecrow. TV movie, a CBS TV movie that happens to be very good. Das Boot on steelbook. Here's the Divide limited edition steelbook, I believe from the Netherlands. Here's Denver and Rio Grande. Here's District 9, 4K. That's Deja Vu. The Descent, Blu-ray. Here's Dune, not the original, the remake. The lenticular cover. There's a steelbook in there. Very nice edition of that film. Very enjoyable film. Here's the sequel. Here's a media book of Cemetery Man. Delicatessen, French release, 4K. Next is Day After Tomorrow on steelbook. Deep Impact. And Deliverance is a digibook. Here's the Die Hard collection. An import of Death Proof on Blu-ray. A recent film, The Dive, which I did enjoy. Dead Calm. A recent horror film, which it happens to be very good. The Dark and the Wicked. Dirty Dancing. It's Dead Silence. Dog Day Afternoon. Devil Dog, Hound of Hell, TV movie, I think. Oddly enough, this is not on 4K yet. Here's Donnie Brasco. If this needs a fancy box set, this is Dirty Dozen. The Divergent films. Divergent. I did like these movies. They're fun. There's Allegiant. These are matte finish steelbooks, by the way. And the final one, Insurgent. Here's a Dragged Across Concrete. There's Domino. I like that one a lot. There's Darkest Hour. Dragon Slayer. And, yeah, that's it. So, these are all very good films in my D section. Bottom shelf there is started off with Dragonfly, the film, the Kevin Costner film. This is Drive Angry. Death in the Nile. A little hard to get in. As you can see, this is a niche that I created here. In this corner of my apartment. Little niche with all these shelves, nothing but movies. Little tight spot here, but I can make it. Death Spa, there's Dunkirk, Dark Side of the Moon. Sorry about that. The Departed, Dragonhead, Exodus, Edge of Tomorrow. There's Eyes Wide Shut, Escape Room, The Eraser, The Eye on DVD, Eden Log, Escape from Zerain, Enemy at the Gates, Enemy of the State, The Edge, and The Watch. Equalizers 1, 2, and 3 on the first two are okay. The first one is a steelbook, and the other two are just regular cases. And here's my Dark Force Entertainment collection. Just gonna do a pan across there. That last one is Primal Scream. And I think the one next to that is Offerings, which may be out of print. Yep. And that's my Dark Force Entertainment section there. Scream on 4K. The Banker, Breeders, Final Exam. I love that slasher film. Dead Bit looks great on 4K. Yeah, a nice selection of eclectic films there. All right, let me just show you real quick the Equalizer steelbook. It's an import. That's the front. It's embossed or debossed. Yeah, I love these films. I love all three of them. Quite enjoyable. All right, so let's get up to this section here. This is starting off with Ex Machina. Let's see if I can pull that out real quick and show you. Ex Machina on Steelbook from a company called Film Arena out of the Czech Republic. The old Anchor Bay edition of The Entity, Evil Dead 2013, and Evil Dead Rise. Here's my Exorcist Bible edition. It's a UK import. I also have the Ultimate Collector's Edition rigid hardbox version. Also from the UK. And I've got The Exorcist Believer, the recent film, media book of Exorcist 3, my Expendables collection, starting with part 2 for some reason. So Expendables 1, 2, and 3. This one's a steel book. All right. Europa Report there. Here's Electric Dreams from Second Sight. This is a Blu-ray. One of my favorite 80s films. Wait, what's this? Oh. Expendables, I think this is the original. I forgot there were 4 films. So that's the original Expendables. I think these were German. I got these from a German collection. 1, 2, 3, and Expendables 4. Yeah, forgot there was a 4th film. Here's Event Horizon, another UK import. It's a 4K steelbook in there, chunky box. Elysium. I See You. Everest. Italian release of an 80s horror film. I don't know what, the Evil Clutch, I think it's called. Evil Clutch. This is a Blu-ray from Italy. One of my favorites, Erin Brockovich. Here's Extremities. English Patient. End of the line from TerrorVision. Here's a version of Escape from New York that I love. E.T. Extraterrestrial. Executive Decision. Great film. Equilibrium. That's just a Blu-ray in there. The Elephant Man from Studio Canal. Big chunky edition. Big beefy boy there. And a recent film called Elevation, which I did enjoy. Here's Empire of the Sun. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Steelbook. The Evil That Men Do. Media book. Here's a comedy with Burt Reynolds called The End. Very funny. From Eureka. Here's my Eureka collection. And we start off with Valley Girl, one of my favorites from the 80s. Valley Girl. Here's A Fistful of Dynamite, or Duck, You Sucker. Duck, you sucker. Sleepwalkers. The Specialists. And Monkey Shines. Oh, and Cocoon on Blu-ray. Here is Faces of Death 2, 3. Here's Firewalker. Fury, the war film with Brad Pitt in a steelbook. Full Metal Jacket, steelbook. The Fall Guy, Firefox, and Heartbreak Ridge, double feature, and The Fugitive, 4K. And here's my Fun City collection, starting with Primetime Panic. I Start Counting. Natural Enemies. The Coca-Cola Kid. Walking the Edge. Bad Company, Born to Run, all good films. Primetime Panic 2, Stranger's Kiss, Handgun, Alphabet City, Breathless, Heavenly Bodies, Bilitis, Paradise, and Lifeguard. Next to that is Fright Night, the 4K of Fright Night. Let me turn this light off. I might be better off without the light. 4K of Fright Night in a slipcase from Blockbuster box sets. Some of you may have heard that Fright Night Part 2 is coming out on a legitimate US release. Here is a media book of the sequel from Germany. Try the light with less intensity. Flashdance. Really good film. Frozen. Here's The Firm on 4K. And here's Fear City from 101 Films in the UK. Alright, so here are the Final Destination films. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. French Connection 1 and 2 in there. From Dark Star, a Vinegar Syndrome partner label. Here's Fair Game. Here's Falling Down. And steelbooks of the Fast and the Furious films up to 7. I don't think I have 9 or 10. But here is a standalone slipcased version of 7. Oh, I do have 9. Part 9 is the last one I picked up, and here's Fate of the Furious. So yeah, the first 9 films of the franchise there, and of course there's Hobbs and Shaw. Here's Forrest Gump in a beefy box. There's a steelbook 4K in there. That's the Flintstones, Flame Over India, The Fiend, Fire with Ice, Fantastic Beasts, Firstborn. There's Freejack. Fire Next Time, a really good CBS TV miniseries from the early 90s about global warming. That's on DVD. There's Final Fantasy on 4K. Here's an import of Four Flies on Grey Velvet, the Argento Giallo. A little dusty there, sorry. A steelbook of From Russia with Love. Secrets of Dumbledore. Final Stab. Massacre Video. Flight Risk. There's Future World. There's On Deadly Ground. I'm sorry, Fire Down Below. This is another gray market Blu-ray from Spain. Looks pretty good. That's The Fortress, The Forest, The Faculty, The Forsaken on DVD, For Your Eyes Only, Ferris Bueller's Day Off on 4K, Frequency, and Faster. Here are my G titles, beginning with a media book of Ghost House from by Umberto Lenzi, 1988. Here's a UK import of Green Mile steelbook. I have the Vault series version of Goodfellas. This is the minimized edition. Normally these used to come in big boxes. I think they may still do, but now they're doing 2 versions. and Galaxy Quest on 4K. Okay, and here's my Grindhouse collection, beginning with The Beyond. And here's the Swimmer, Cannibal Ferox. There's Death Game, Cat in the Brain, I Drink Your Blood, Impulse, The Tough Ones, another copy of The Beyond, the old Blu-ray copy, Pieces, excellent movie, if you like that kind of thing. Here's a Hollywood Strangler, Hollywood 90028. Here's American Hippie in Israel, Big Gun Down, Massacre Mafia Style, Corruption, and Gone with the Pope. The Guy Vault, Gran Torino, Greenland, Great Silence, Gwen and the Book of Sand from Deaf Crocodile. It's an anime or animated feature. Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on 4K, the special box set that came out that sold out real quick. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I have not seen yet. Gangs of New York, an import from South Korea. God, this guy was so good in this. Daniel Day-Lewis, amazing actor. Here's a version of The Gladiator from Titans of Cult. Gladiator 2. And Gattaca. Another collector's piece from a company that no longer exists. From the UK. Yeah, this one's special. I love the art on that. Steelbook is, yeah, not really great, but love the slipcase there. Here's my Godzilla Shrine, starting with the '98 film. That's the 2014 film. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Godzilla vs. Kong. And Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. Here's Gravity. The Godsend. Graveyard Shift. The Gray with Liam Neeson, excellent film. Gone in 60 Seconds. Glenn and Randa on DVD. Another Godzilla film, Godzilla 84. It should go there. Here's Ghost Watch from 101 Films. G.I. Joe Retaliation. I don't have the original. The Gauntlet. I love this Eastwood film. Batshit crazy. Here's the new Gandhi Steelbook on 4K. Eli Roth's The Green Inferno, which I did love. I love this one. The Guardian. A Good Day to Die Hard. The new Steelbook of Groundhog Day. This is a 4K. Is Geostorm. Get Carter from the 4K, from the UK. This movie is very underrated, in my opinion. G.I. Jane with Demi Moore. From Cinema Museum in Italy, here's The Goonies. Game of Survival. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. 1984. The Girl with All the Gifts, Gangster Squad, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I think. And Volume 2. Ooh. Go easy with that. And Volume 3 on Blu-ray. Another gray market release. Here's the 1992 film Gladiator with James Marshall and Cuba Gooding Jr. Greed in the Sun from Olive Films. Here's the Ghost Station, the Green Berets. There's Gremlins on Blu-ray. I don't really need the 4K of that. The Guns of Navarone 4K with the limited edition slipcover, released by Sony, and the remake of The Getaway. Actually, the original. And I could be wrong, but the remake may also be in here. No, just that one. And the H section begins here at Hangar 18. An early 80s sci-fi drama from Olive Films. Another 88 Films Blu-ray. Here's a Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. It's Heaven Can Wait. Hacksaw Ridge. Happy Death Day. The Homesman, Western. Here's Heat. This is a Czech Republic import with a steelbook, but there's a US 4K in there. Here's Hellraiser Judgment from Turbine. Haunted House of Horror, UK import. And here's a media book of Halloween 3. Padded media book, one of my favorite films. Standalone Halloween film. All right, for this, I'm gonna grab my chair and have a seat so I don't kill myself. Here's the Hayao Miyazaki, the collected works of Hayao Miyazaki, which I believe are Ghibli films, Ghibli animated films. This was an Amazon exclusive. I don't know if this is still even available on eBay, so it might be hard to find these days. But yeah, it was an Amazon exclusive upon first release. Henny Calder from Olive Signature, a 2014 torture porn film called, I think it's called Hidden in the Woods. Here's the Hateful Eight on Steelbook. How the West Was Won. Excellent film. Cinerama. Here's the Horizon Line. Hard Rain. Hobo with a Shotgun. Heart and Souls. The Hellraiser series. Her. The first Howling on 4K. Howling 2 is a German import. Howling 3, another import. Howling 4, the original Nightmare. 5, The Rebirth, and 6, The Freaks. Original House on 4K. House 2, 4K. And House 4 on 4K. Hills of Eyes, a remake, 1 and 2, both good. Hack-O-Lantern, double feature of The Hole and Venom. The Horde, a zombie film. This is a Canadian Blu-ray. Higher Learning,
Hard to Kill. Here's a version of House by the Cemetery.
Lots of pages. Lots and lots of pages.
Some photos. Another version of House by the Cemetery. As you can probably tell, it's one of my favorites. Here's a horror movie involving whales or whale hunting. Harpoon. A really good werewolf flick, Howl, with Shauna McDonald. This one I really enjoy, Hostage, with Bruce Willis. Really good action thriller. Here's Haunt, Ronin Flicks exclusive. The Hobbit trilogy on 4K. Hill. And the Harry Potter 8-film collection on 4K, which I should really keep together with The Hobbit, even though it's got nothing to do with The Hobbit, but it's got a similar little design there with the packaging. Here's Hell Knight on Mediabook. Hannah, UK Steelbook. Here is a Steelbook of Iron Man. This one comes from South Korea, I believe. It's a company called Blue Fans. Actually, China. This is a China release. Yeah, from Blue Fans. And I have another edition of the first Iron Man in this packaging. This one's from Kimchi DVD. This one's South Korea. So it's pretty cool. And I've got Iron Man Steelbooks. These were Best Buy exclusives. That's the first. That's part 2 and 3. Down there is the Hatchet Complete Collection Steelbook. Horizon, the Western Saga. The Hunger Games on Steelbook. This is a Best Buy exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. A fancy version of House of a Thousand Corpses, which I do admit I don't like very much. Or at least not as much as I do Devil's Rejects. House on Sorority Row. The Happening. The Original Haunting. History of Violence. Hell or High Water. Steelbook. It's Hard Target 1 and 2. The UK release. Ron Howard flick, In the Heart of the Sea. There's a film called Home. Home Alone. And House of Cruel Dolls, the full moon release. And a media book of the film Humongous. What did I drop? I dropped The Eyes. I dropped the eye. The eye section kicks off with the Indiana Jones films, all 5 films. This box is from Blockbuster Box Sets. And next to that is a film called Idaho Transfer, the DVD. The original Independence Day. And the sequel. Stephen King's It, the 1990 version. chunky box. And the remake. Here's The Island. Blu-ray from Treasured Films. I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy. The box itself is from 88 Films. And this contains the 4Ks of the first two films and the third film on Blu-ray. Even though that's a 4K case, that's actually it's a Blu-ray case. There is a 4K in there. So I made my own mix and match combo pack there. They look great, by the way, on 4K. They were first two films. From Ronin Flicks, I Spit on Your Grave. Limited edition. Next to that is I Am Legend, Canadian Steelbook. Followed by another Will Smith film, I Am Robot. Ice Road with Liam Neeson. Innocent Blood. Il Postino, or The Postman. And one of my favorites, Ice Station Zebra. The Iron Prefect from Radiance. Invaders from Mars from Ignite. In the Line of Fire. In Time. The Iceman. Or Iceman. Iphigenia. Inception. The Impossible, the recreation of the 2004 East Asia tsunami. Irreconcilable Differences. That's Intersection. In Dreams. Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Here's It Can Happen to You. The Island. The Scarlett Johansson film. Into the Wild. The movie about the guy who drops his life and decides to go off into the woods by himself. Identity. This is a Canadian release. Here's a DVD of Island at the Top of the World. I love this film from Disney. Imposter with Gary Sinise. Ansandi from 101 Films. Insidious 1. I think all three. There are 3 films in here. Yep. They're okay. I have not watched the fourth. Are there 4 or are there 5? I don't know. Here's It Came from Outer Space on 4K. It's a Wonderful Life. Who doesn't have that? There's a film called Iron Sky. Iron Eagle, a gray market Blu-ray. And Into the Fire, or Into the White. This is a war film, a recent war film. Well, recent-ish, maybe early 2010s. It's good. I enjoyed it. It's German. And here is my imprint collection. As you can see, beginning with The Long Ships. Possession of Joel Delaney. Don't I have this already? This was reissued by Vinegar, wasn't it? Yeah, this I can sell. Get rid of that. Here's a post-apocalyptic film called 5. Rage. With Stella Stevens. That's Pretty Baby.
Testament. The 97 Lolita, directed by Adrian Lyne. Same guy who directed Indecent Proposal. Here is The Mountain. The Deep. Marooned. The Medusa Touch. Not sure what this is about. A very good film from the 90s called Haunted. Very, I really did love this one. This is featuring Aidan Quinn and Kate Beckinsale. Dersu Uzala. Here's The Beast. Barabbas. Steve McQueen and The Hunter. Harem. So many of these films are still missing on Blu-ray in the U.S. These are all Australian editions. Here's another one, The Out of Towners. This movie is so funny. It's a great film, great comedy. Early 70s, Jack Lemmon, Sandy Dennis. Why the heck is this not available in the U.S.? This is so crazy. Great film from Imprint Films. Here's an 80s action film called Cold Steel. The Arrival, the 96 film with Charlie Sheen. Ravagers. Damn the Defiant there, and a film called Georgia. Followed by Jacob's Ladder, The Gambler, The Awakening, Mountains of the Moon, Let's Get Harry, Green Ice, Superstition, Return to Paradise, Man Who Haunted Himself, The Juror, Long Voyage Home. Here is, what is this? The Spiral Road. Milena, which needs to be on 4K. This is The Two Worlds of Jenny Logan. Johnny Got His Gun. Fire in the Sky. Death Valley. Mothman Prophecies. Let's Get Jessica to Death. This go bye-bye, because I got the Vinegar Syndrome 4K. Timeline. I really like this one. This is a Richard Donner film. Yeah, here's a film I really enjoyed, The Wind Chill. It's with Emily Blunt, and it's made by Sony, but it only got in the U.S. It was stuck with at least one other film, maybe two films, in a multi-pack, which was stupid, because it's a great film. It's a great modern thriller. And here is Imprint with its own standalone release. Thank you, Imprint. The Skeleton Key. And that movie. And some box sets down there. I got the After Dark, a couple of After Dark volumes with a bunch of movies in there. I'm not going to take those out. But, yeah, neo-noir cinema. And next to that is a Martin Scorsese collection, Films of Faith. Kundun, Silence, and Last Temptation of Christ. All right, and
continuing on with my imprint library is actually before we get to the rest of the imprints, let me just show you these are Via Vision titles. This is Grindhouse. These are all Blu-ray sets. The Substitute collection. Wolf Creek. And this was in my Never-Ending Story big boy box right there. I took it out. Put it on the shelf because it deserves its own spot. And that really is imprint. The rest are Via Vision titles. I mean, the same owner, same company, but they have a separate company there. Here's the Tales of Adventure Collection 3. There with all these films. And hang on, collection 6 with these films. Very interesting. I haven't seen any of these yet, but I can't wait to dig into these sets. Here's Cross of Iron. These are all chunky boxes. The Eagle Has Landed. Osterman Weekend. Here's On the Beach. Very nice set. Bridge Too Far on 4K, looks great. Suspiria, the remake. Here's Capricorn 1. Here's The Bounty, the 84 version, and Burn. And this is a collection of TV movies from imprint there. All right, I'm gonna end this part of the video here. This is part 3. Next time we'll pick up with my indicator stuff. Once again, thank you for staying with me. Feel free to leave any comment or any feedback, good or bad, in the comment section. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.